Hi, I'm Jonathan Becker, and I'm the Chief Digital Officer of SAP. I'm honored to be able to participate in your digital think tank. In fact, I spent 2 weeks at Fontainebleau at a course at Insead some years ago, and it's a great honor to be able to give back to the institution. I wanted to spend a couple of minutes talking about the times we live in. We all know that the world is fundamentally changing. In fact, I think the transformation that we're going through right now, the digital transformation, is roughly equivalent to the Industrial Revolution of a couple hundred years ago. That's how much things are fundamentally changing. How we work, how we play, how we shop, how we consume goods, oils and other goods as well, they're all fundamentally changing. They're becoming much more digital. Let's think of a couple examples. Probably the world has thought a lot more how the transportation industry is changing. New services like Uber and Lyft have fundamentally changed how we think about the taxi industry. But that's only the beginning. Driverless cars will not only change the transportation industry, but will change industries around them as well. Why do you need a garage for your house anymore if the car doesn't have a driver? In fact, the transportation industry has gone from us driving ourselves to having somebody else drive us to no driver whatsoever. A similar kind of change is happening in the delivery industry as well, as drones become more popular and less expensive. Certainly drones can deliver goods less expensively and more reliably than traditionally people can, but it goes well beyond that. A drone can get to a remote location. A drone can get into a situation where it's dangerous to a human being. Our whole concept of just-in-time delivery is going to change with the concept of drones. Another industry that will fundamentally change, maybe even more than delivery services and more than transportation, is the manufacturing industry. We all talk about just-in-time manufacturing. The rise of 3D printing means that almost anything can be printed, and it can be printed locally rather than having to be shipped from a remote location. It occurred to me that the world really has changed a couple of months ago when the American Federal Aviation Administration approved the first 3D printed part in an airplane. That means the day is coming when we're all going to fly in a plane that's been mostly printed rather than made out of metal. Are you ready for that? I'm not entirely sure that I am as well. Given that every industry and every company is fundamentally changed based on digital transformation, I often ask myself, how can we change SAP? We're a fundamentally successful 43-year-old company, and yet we have to change as well. And I want to make sure that we actually change and not just talk about digital. I'm worried a lot about digital washing. And so therefore, I've created, together with a number of other companies, a 3-step litmus test that I look at any transformation to see whether it's a true digital transformation. The first is, have we changed the customer experience? How do customers look at the goods and services we create fundamentally different? For example, in the music industry, now that you can download songs and music rather than having to purchase them on a CD or an LP, that's a different experience. But the reaction of that is we don't talk about albums much anymore, we talk about songs. We consume songs, and that has fundamentally changed the music industry. That's clearly a change in the customer experience. But as it turns out, we still pay about the same amount for an album that we did before if we buy all the songs. So the second step in a digital transformation is, do you change the business model? Do you change the way consumers pay for your goods and services? And do you change the way a company gets paid? In the music industry, this started happening as well. Services like Shazam and Spotify don't sell you songs. They don't even rent you songs. You buy the rights to get access to their unlimited or maybe somewhat limited catalogs. It's a very different business model, and it's so disruptive that Apple, which is of course the king of customer experience, announced Apple Music, one could guess, to compete with the Spotifys and Shazams of the world. The third step of a digital transformation is to change the way value gets created. Don't just change the customer experience, don't just change the business model, but change the traditional producer and consumer model, where the producer tries to create a good and service as fast as possible with as least amount of time and material as possible and fit the customer needs. The new digital business model is co-creation, where you as a company don't necessarily try to maximize market share, but rather you try to maximize the share of the market. This is what is often called the collaboration economy or the sharing economy. It goes by many different names, where your piece might be smaller of the overall whole, but you grow as the industry grow, and everybody's interests, the producer, the consumer, the general public, employees, suppliers, and distributors are all aligned. So when all of this comes together, the world does fundamentally change. Now you might imagine, wait, Jonathan, you work for a technology company. How come you didn't mention technology in all this? I do think that technology is the engine for all this change. And as important as technology is, culture is doubly important. If technology is engine, then culture is the fuel inside the engine. It's why my mantra as I do this digital transformation is culture eats strategy for breakfast. So, if you want to embrace digital transformation, if you want to be part of the change that's in the world, the advice that I would give you is adopt a mindset of change. Adopt a mindset of experimentation. Generate new ideas, put them in market as fast as possible, learn what really works, and then change again. The days of measuring success based on ROI are gone. Right now, you should think about time to market. The faster you get in, the faster you'll learn what really works. I'm incredibly excited about the economy and the world we're in now. You should be as well. It's time to disrupt everything. It's our motto. Disrupt or be disrupted. Thanks for letting me to join your course. Have fun.